Hello folks and welcome. My name is Christopher Carr, also known as Natural Body Man. And today we've got a great presentation. It's how we obtain energy using carbohydrates, fat, and protein via the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain. Let's take a look into carbohydrates, also known as sugar. Basically, we have fast-acting sugars and more slow-acting, okay? So, one molecule of sugar, also known as glucose, okay, will yield 2 ATP. That's of anaerobic energy that you'll use right then, okay? Now, if you are going to go further into the chain where you start going into the Krebs cycle, then from there, we're going to use these things called NADH and FADH, and they're going to bring us more ATP. One NADH will give us 2.5 ATPs, and one FADH will give us 1.5 ATPs. We also have GTPs, which will equal 1 ATP. And we use this, it's the hydrogen in that NAD and that FAD that's what gives us that ATP, that energy, okay? So we're using these different processes, such as the beta oxidation in the Krebs cycle and the electron transport chain, to utilize that energy that we get from hydrogen, okay? So now, you have one glucose molecule. That gives you 2 ATPs. Now, if you want to use that into more energy, that's going to go into a slower form of energy, you will get 2 NADs, which will be 2.5 times 2, which is 5, plus 2, which is 7. So therefore, you have 7 ATPs. Now, when you go into the beta oxidation, the beta oxidation has 2 NADs and 2 NADHs. So you times that by 2.5, that equals 5, plus 7 is 12. So now we have 12 ATPs. So now we have gone from a glucose molecule into instead of coming into pyruvate, into acetyl-CoA and into beta oxidation. Now it's acceptable into the Krebs cycle. Now in the Krebs cycle, for every 1 ATP, you have 1 GTP, you have 3 NADHs, and you have 1 FADH. Okay? So here we have 2 ATPs because one molecule of glucose will give us 2 ATPs. So you get 2 GTPs, so that's 1 for each. So you add 12 to 2, that's 14. Then you have 6 NADH molecules because we have 2 ATPs given from 1 glucose molecule. So that's 6 times 2.5 is 15, plus 14 is 29. That's 29 ATPs. And then we have 1 FADH for each ATP molecule, which is 2. So we have 2 FADH times 1.5 is 3. 3 plus 29 is 32 ATPs yielded from 1 glucose molecule. Aha! And that's how we use sugar in the form of more long-term energy into the Krebs cycle. Now, when we're looking at protein, our proteins, when we're able to use them for energy, they're going to break down to their simpler forms, to the amino acids. And from the amino acid, it's going to become pyruvate. And at that point, at pyruvate, it's going to go into the same process as the sugar did. It's either going to do that, or it's going to be expended off as it'll become a new amino acid molecule, or it'll die off. But basically, you go from amino acid to step 2 to pyruvate, step 3 to beta oxidation process where you convert it to acetyl-CoA, and to the step 4, which is the Krebs cycle. Okay, and then from there, the last resort, we use the oxygen in the electron transport chain to accept the hydrogen. Okay? Now also, 2 things to note with the protein. First, the amount of energy, the amount of ATPs that we can get from this protein molecule varies. It's dependent on what amino acids we're working with in that protein molecule, okay? If we're working with alanine, then we can use it as a faster source of energy as sugar, okay? Now, if it's more of glycine, if it's amino acid, something like glycine, then we're going to go all the way into the Krebs cycle, and we'll use that as a longer-term energy, okay? Also, this is dependent about how hard you're exercising, okay? If you're exercising and it's not that hard, you're not utilizing that much energy, that can change the energy pathway that it will go to, whether it'll be used as a sugar or it'll become more into a fat. Okay? Yes. Yes, are you with me? Okay, now we're going to go into fats. Now basically with fat is in an 18 carbon chain, and there's a fatty acid molecule inside that. So for every 18 carbon chain, we have 147 ADPs, okay? And there's a triglyceride in every one of those ADPs. So when you multiply that, because it's tri, that means 3. So 147 times 3 will give us 441 usable ATPs, okay? And then from there, that's in every 18 carbon chain, okay? And then when you break down glycerol, you'll get another 19 ATPs added, and that will equal 460 ATPs from every triglyceride molecule, okay? That's in an 18 carbon chain. So you see you get a lot of energy here, but it's much slower form for fat. You get 32 for a sugar when it's slow glycolysis, and you get, when it's a higher energy, you get only 2 ATPs, okay? And as we see here, the electron transport chain is a little difficult to describe. I will give you the description, but basically the intention of it is to accept hydrogen. And once you accept hydrogen, then the electron transport chain will shuttle this hydrogen into 3 pumps. The first pump accepts 4 hydrogen, also 2 electrons. The second pump will accept 4 hydrogens and 2 electrons, and the third pump will accept 2 hydrogens, 2 electrons, okay? So basically, the electron transport chain, oxygen accepts the hydrogen, okay? And then it's used in the mitochondria of the cell, and basically all those hydrogen, they combine with the ADP and the phosphate. So those hydrogen combine, and then we have energy, and then we can use ATP, and it dies off because we use energy. So that is how that works. All right? So if you have any further questions, do your homework, do your studying, check the internet, check out other videos that we offer here on the Natural Body Man website. And I want to thank you very much. Remember, have fun and exercise. Yeah!